Hello world, hello Mongoose Magic Moments friends, hello TikTok. I hope you're having a fantastic day. This is the world famous Kakulu Kucholina Chenorantolatsa Bokolodi. I have followed her family since 2008 and she was born in November 2018. She is very famous and I usually do my live streams for my TikTok audience. We have over 2 million views on the channel there, but I decided to come and visit some of our TikTok friends today. What we have here is incredibly rare. This is the real unedited wildlife documentary. I am a professional nature conservationist. I qualified in 1993, and I am a published wildlife research biologist. This is the Meerkatmagic Valley Reserve of the Meerkat Magic Conservation Project. It is a private reserve here in Oudtshoorn in the Western Cape of South Africa. And this is my research base, which is known as the Meerkatmanchen Research Base. It is very famous. If you've seen any films since 1993, you'll know me better as the Meerkat Man. I've worked with BBC, National Geographic, and Discovery Channel. This is just to give you an idea of the area around here so that you know this is not a zoo or a tame animal. As a wildlife research biologist and author of the Meerkats book, published internationally in 2016, if you've seen any of the Meerkats films, many people ask, what is a meerkat? People have seen The Lion King. Timone is a meerkat. I work with the real wild meerkats and mongoose. That is my speciality. In 1993, I began working with Cambridge University, Britain. If you're seeing my content for the first time, our films include work with Sir David Attenborough, Nick Stringer from the National Geographic team, Simon King, Big Cat Diaries, producer, film crews, and then, of course, Nigel Marvin from Discovery Channel, Richard Goss, Keir Downer Productions, etc. I also spent 7 years working with the University of Pretoria in South Africa. Big shout out to everyone there still. And the world famous biologist, Professor John Skinner, author of Mammals of Southern Africa, the definitive book on mammals in our region of the world. The MRI Mammal Research Institute is very famous around the world. And of course, here we have what I call a wildlife documentary in the reserve. You are watching a Karoo scrub robin. And I like doing these unedited wildlife documentaries. People call me the man behind their hand for that reason, as you've just seen, because I will bring you the truth. None of this nonsense from artificial intelligence, which I prefer to call artificial deception. Yeah, we give you the real deal. What you see is what you get. So if you have questions, you can add your comments. Please let me know where you're watching from. It's great to see you all today. And it is a beautiful day. Yeah, here we also give the real weather forecast. We've had a terrible drought here over the last 8 months, and recently we had 8 millimeters of rainfall. In the distance, to put things in perspective here as well, before we get back to the action with the mongoose and this bird, which you may be surprised to see so close to the mongoose, that is the Great Black Mountain Range, die Groot Swartberge, to the north. Yes, and it's very important because it is part of your World Heritage Site. No matter where you are on this rock that we all share together, the Great Black Mountain Range is a UNESCO World Heritage Site complex, part of the Cape Floristic region, going all the way to the Cape Town area. About 4 hours drive from me. great to see you all. Hey, and thanks for the likes. If you want to follow my main work, check out the channel on YouTube. Google search the Meerkatman, the Mongoose Man, as I'm more commonly known as. All right. I'm filming from the Stone Dojo Gym. It's a martial arts dojo in my private reserve. And many people ask me, can they come and visit? The area I work in is not a tourism site. It is for film crews and research biologists. That's why I bring you these live streams, so that it is as if you are here with me right now, which you are, but we are not allowing the public to potentially disturb wildlife. It is not a zoo, and anything can happen at any time. All right, I'm going to tell you more about the beautiful creature that we're seeing in front of us now. She has just given birth a few days ago. If you check out my YouTube channel, you will find all the information about that. We're expecting her babies to arrive in the area in the next 2 weeks, and I will do a live stream then as well. This is Cynictis penicillata, the yellow mongoose, die geelmeishond, mongoose. You can see the white tip to the tail is a very characteristic feature. That tail can puff up just like a cat's tail and become many times larger than it looks now. And that is a visual alarm. Let's also have a closer look at her feet, since we're getting such a beautiful view here. It is very unusual with the mongoose, which there are over 35 species in the world of mongooses, which is the horrible plural, because it's not from the English, it comes from India originally. Yeah, that's where you get it. It's not like a bird, one mongoose, two mongoose or mongai. It's from Mungo or mangusta. So it is one mongoose, two mongooses. Whether we like it or not, that's how it is. So let's look at those feet. I see TikTok wobbles around a lot on a live stream. Oh, what a beautiful unedited wildlife documentary stream right there. How incredibly rare. You are so lucky. If you like that, please drop lots of hearts, because that was super rare to see inside a wild mongoose's mouth. All right, let me just zoom out here. This is wobbling all over the place with TikTok. It doesn't do this on YouTube, incidentally. All right, just telling you more about the feet and a bit of anatomy lesson here. So sit tight, get your popcorn. Yeah, there are 5 nails on each paw, on the front feet. It's very unusual. In fact, it's like a dog's nails. 4 on the back feet. Now, typically with a mongoose, there are 5 on the front and 5 on the back. With herpestes, that is very common. There are many different herpestes mongoose species. The meerkat, the Suricati, Suricata, has 4 nails on the front feet. Short on the back, also 4. So 4 and 4, but the yellow mongoose, 5 and 4. The banded mongoose, which I've worked with in Central Africa, Uganda, back in 1997. Mongo, the most sociable mongoose on the planet. Yeah, they live in families of over 60. I worked in Queen Elizabeth Park, surrounded by the Ruwenzori Mountains, Kazinga Channel. Yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful area. And then, of course, the Katunguri village. I was also fortunate enough to work with the chimpanzee in Kibale rainforest. It's difficult to imagine so much rainfall arriving every afternoon, like buckets of rainfall. Unlike the very little bit of drizzle that we get here. All right, so banded mongoose, a typical mongoose, 5 nails on the front, 5 on the back. Please also notice how the nails are very short on the front feet and short on the back. The mongoose does not have retractile nails like the cats. When I introduce scientific terms, I will give you the more common definitions. Retractile means withdrawing. So many people know that Echinonyx jubatus, the cheetah, has partially retractile nails. I just paused there because many people are like, oh, it's a cat, it will have retractile nails. No. And then some people say, oh, it is the only cat that doesn't have retractile nails. No, again, it has partially retractile nails. So, mongoose, meerkat, the nails are not retractile. So people go, hang on then, it's not a dog, it's not a cat, what's going on? And it is not related to ferrets, it is not related to the honey badger or to otters. That is the family Mustelidae. Yeah. distinctmeisont, as many people in South Africa will know that name. It translates from Afrikaans meaning stinky, meis, mouse, hond, dog. Stinky mouse dog. Yeah, and I'd like to tell you why I use scientific names, because a stinky mouse dog, distinctmeisont, Onyx striatus, you can Google these names. We use scientific names in wildlife research to avoid confusion. Onyx striatus is not a mongoose. It is in the Mustelidae family, not the Herpestidae family of the mongoose. Yeah, so just a little point. This is, again, Cynictis penicillata, the yellow mongoose. It is not Mellivora capensis, the honey badger. It is not Lutra maculicollis, spotted-necked otter, and it is not Aonyx capensis, yeah, the Cape clawless otter. Just a few points there. They all occur in this reserve. So it is very important not to get confused. Look at that. Oh, how fantastic. What you will have noticed, for those with very sharp eyes there, and I'm sure you have those. Yeah. She has no lower teeth. Her lower canines, the very sharp, large teeth. Many people know that from the horror films, Dracula, those are the canines, the ones that stick out. Well, she doesn't have her lower canines. She doesn't have her lower incisors, because she lost those during a terrible fight when we thought she would die. And this was last year, as recently as 2025, when I live streamed the meerkats from the world-famous Ungulungu meerkat group that I followed and protected in the reserve since 2001. They had 4 babies in December. Anyway, coming back to this, she had a terrible fight, lost her lower teeth, and the reason she has that very dark scar on the right side of her lower lip is because most of her lip was actually torn away. So it was a terrible, terrible fight. I did not think she would survive, and that is why people from around the world have been giving our mongoose family adventures with the Mongoose Magic Moments Tsabokolori group here different names. So her name, and you can also suggest names for her babies, by the way, in the comments on my YouTube videos. I might do that here on TikTok as well, depending on how many viewers we get. Her name is Gakulu, and that is a shout out to our Zulu viewers out here. Sawubona unjani, gikhona wena unjani, nami gikhona, kuhle Gakulu. All right, so Gakulu is from Giabonga Gakulu, because she was with her brother, and the people who named her originally, Giabonga Gakulu, is thank you very much. Giabonga, thank you very much. Yeah, so Gakulu. Those are her first names that people are familiar with. The next one is from our Italian supporters, Associazione Suricati Italia. We work with an international conservation collaboration. The president there of the association is Asia Chili. You can find the information on Facebook. Look for Suricati Italia. You can join as a member, become part of this international conservation association. Check out my YouTube for details as well. There I give all the links, etc. And then Alessia Torchini. They have both visited my reserve here in South Africa, all the way from Italy twice. They are sponsors of my work. Coming back down to why she has these Italian names is because of our sponsors choosing the names as VIPs. So we have her first name, Gakulu, as I introduce you to this world-famous superstar that she is. If you Google her name or Tsabokolori Yellow Mongoose Group, you will find her all over social media for many, many years. Gakulu Cucciolina, which means little puppy, Cucciolina, little Italian for our friends out there, for those who don't know it. And if you Google an image search as well for Cucciolina, you will see little puppy, which is what it translates to, comes up first in the world for her, even above the actual dogs that are world famous in Italy. So I find that very amusing. A mongoose called Little Puppy is more famous on Google than the actual little puppies where videos are made for them in Italy. So yeah, if you like that, please drop a love. Drop some hearts. Thank you. Yeah, because here is our superstar. And let me just put this in perspective. I'm enjoying what I call mongoose magic moments right here. Have a look. She can go anywhere she wants. This is a massive area. Many, many kilometers of complete wilderness. And please also look at our beautiful Karoo scrub robin. This is the aerial survey. This is an ally. This is not some bit of food. Please look how the bird is following her around. There she's standing up. She's just seen something in the distance. Please notice how she's turning her back on me. How does this happen, you might wonder? This is a wild animal. How can I be so close? That's what I specialize in. If you see our films with meerkats and mongooses, the reason film presenters can get up close is because of the work I do. These animals are wild. If you were to arrive in the area, you will not see them unless you're with me. I've taken thousands of people around the world out on visits in the past, but I am retired. So this is what I prefer to do, giving you, the audience, live streams. The real unedited wildlife documentaries. Yeah, you can see it. Please notice this. Oh, the mongoose is killing and eating birds. What absolute nonsense. Look at this, please. Please have a look. Here is her equivalent of a friend. It's a team. That is the aerial reconnaissance, the survey. That bird will follow her around and occasionally get little bits of food that she digs up. All right, she's seen something. Yeah, she's always hunting. She's always alert. She cannot afford to have a timeout and do nothing. So we'll see what happens in a moment. Just getting back to what's going on, the bird will follow her around. I know this bird very well. The reason this bird, which is a wild bird as well, is allowing me to be right here is because the mongoose is not making any alarms. Let's have a closer look at this bird. Yeah, it's a very, very quick-moving insectivorous bird, so it eats insects mainly. And of course, it's following an animal that mainly eats insects as well. The mongoose here eats lots of ants and tasty ant pupa. Yeah, ant pupa, basically baby ants or the eggs. All right, there you are, right behind her. It's following along. You might know Bubulcus ibis, those in South Africa, the cattle egret that follows cattle around. It's the same idea. The difference is this bird will make an alarm if there's danger, and the mongoose benefits directly from that. Please notice how the mongoose has approached as I made that sound, because I'm just letting it know I am not the one who's making her wary and she's looking around because the wind is picking up. Please notice this. The leaves are moving. As it gets windier, predators like the lanner falcon, Falco peregrinus. Yeah, that incidentally, for those who know, the lanner falcon is the fastest animal on planet Earth. Yeah, this rock we are all on, that we are all visiting as we travel around that burning orb out there. Yeah, I like to say we are all travelers. Doesn't matter where you are right now. She's a traveler. The bird is a traveler. I'm a traveler. You are all travelers. We are genetic time travelers. Your ancestors have made it possible for you to be here right now and see this live stream, just the same as that ant and cockroach and bird and mongoose walking around here. We're all just travelers. It's as simple as that. All right, let's get back to the action here. So that bird follows her around, and if it sees danger, it will make an alarm. And that is why I call it part of the neighborhood watch. Yeah, the neighborhood watch. This is the wildlife neighborhood, and I'm part of the neighborhood. So when I sit here, I'm simply an object that the animals have got used to hearing and seeing. Many people have asked me, Grant, why do you make such strange sounds? And others. And I have a massive repertoire. If you've seen our films with the BBC, National Geographic, Discovery Channel, etc., you will know these sounds very well. It's why they call me the Meerkat man, mongoose man, because I basically interpret the wildlife and get them closer to them. Those sounds are audio codecs. I'm going to keep it simple here today. Associative learning, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. For our animal psychologists, you will know this very well, and for our human, what they call them, shrinks. Yeah, some people call me an animal whisperer, others call me a shrink, a wildlife shrink. It's the same principle. Basically, these animals learn through associative learning. In the absence of the sounds that I am making, I will not be able to get close to these animals. I have many different sounds, many backup sounds. If anybody in this area who is not myself approaches, these animals will not tolerate them anywhere near because they are not recognized as part of the neighborhood. Just like they recognize birds and bird alarms, And when the bird is not alarming, the bird recognizes the mongoose and the mongoose alarm. And likewise, when the mongoose is not alarming like now, of course, the bird will not alarm. There's the bird. Let's just have a look. Yeah, running along very, very quickly here. And here comes its friend. Inverted commas. That is a non-scientific term, and I'll introduce you to this statement as well. Air quotes, inverted commas. Non-scientific terms are known as anthropomorphic statements or anthropomorphisms. It means attributing human characteristics to animals, but in wildlife research biologists' work, it is considered to be inappropriate. So I'm just mentioning it here because I don't care if people think it's inappropriate or not. I do what I call anthropomorphisms deliberately, and if you follow my work, you'll know I'll just say inverted commas on a specific term. So the bird has the equivalent of, inverted commas, a friend that is also following it around. And even though that bird does not know this mongoose personally, this particular bird does. And it's letting the other bird know there's no danger, there's potentially food. So that bird is now also learning directly in real time, associative learning. A big shout out to our technocrats. Elon Musk from South Africa originally, yeah, Pretoria. And Mark Zuckerberg. Just in case you guys thought you were so clever, which you really are. But I love introducing controversial topics in nature conservation with artificial deception and nonsense out there. This is the real deal. That's why I do it live. So there's no post-edit predetermined scripting or any such nonsense. What you can see right here is the bird and the mongoose right next to each other. They are allies, friends. They are not enemies. Artificial intelligence is putting out so many nonsense videos that people see these and believe that's what happens in nature. It is not what happens in nature. That's why I bring you what does happen in nature right here, so you can see it for yourself. So you might wonder, why did I mention Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg? Because of the following. It's very simple. SSMSs. What's an SMS? Not an SMS, an SSMS. If you know what it is, please comment. Yeah, if you're following me for the first time, you'll have no idea what an SSMS is. That I can guarantee. It's in my Meerkat's book, 2016. Smellogram, not Instagram. I'm talking about the world of smells. That's why I mentioned these two technocrats, because wildlife is way ahead of humanity when it comes to social media. Yeah. Please notice she's doing a bit of auto-grooming. Yeah, right on cue. Aren't we lucky to be able to see that? Unedited wildlife documentary, unscripted. Look at this. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, if you love mongooses, if you love the yellow mongoose, please drop a heart there, a like, please subscribe, please share all over, so we can get more people to learn about why these animals are incredibly important. Many people have no idea what a mongoose is because they've never seen one. Maybe you'll see a mongoose in your life, if you're lucky, for more than maybe 2 or 3 seconds as it runs away, and that's it. I bring the incredibly shy species that most people have no idea about into the media so people can learn about them for real. And here we can see, again, the bird, the Karoo scrub robin, and the mongoose in absolute harmony together. None of this, oh, the mongoose is attacking and eating my livestock, it's killing my bird. Absolute nonsense. That's why I don't edit this. It's as it is. Right here, you can see it. Look. Look, everyone. The bird is not afraid of the mongoose. Yeah. It's not afraid of me either. All right, so I'm going to get back to why I introduced the concepts of smellogram, sent messaging, SSMSs, because these shoes are world famous. Yeah, and they're not for sale. You see this? This is my air conditioning unit here. Let me just show you. Yeah. What terrible shoes. Look how destroyed they are. These shoes are more valuable than any other shoe on the planet, as far as I'm concerned, for me, because they've been scent marked by wild mongooses, wild meerkats as well. It's what I call the stamp of approval. I'm in fact part of a mobile territory, and when I'm wearing these shoes, I can walk around anywhere in this massive neighborhood of many, many kilometers, and any animal that sees me can also smell me. I also talk loudly. That's not just for your benefit. It is primarily for the animal's benefit, and that's, of course, what comes first out here. It's all about the wildlife film schedules. That's why my live streams can happen at any time depending on what they're up to. Lots of concepts here. Yeah, that's why I wrote a book, to make it easier. You can read it at your leisure. All right, just stretching out a bit here. I'm over 6 foot, so when I'm sitting down like this for a while, this is something you don't see in the films usually. The film crew back there getting cramps, getting bitten by insects like mosquitoes, of course. Yeah, as I like to say, everything is trying to make a living off everything else. In the reserve, she is a hunted hunter. There are animals who are hunting her. I mentioned the Lana falcon. Peregrine falcons. So they reach speeds of over 384 kilometers an hour. I got distracted on that point earlier. All right, good. This is a perfect opportunity for me to uncrumple my body. Let's get up and you'll get to see what it's like to be me for a moment. All right, now you'll really get to understand why I call it Walk with Wildlife Animal Adventures, because there she is. Usually, if you even move when you're working with a wild animal, they will run away. Meerkats will go below ground and you will not see them. You can spend the entire day there looking at holes in the ground and you will not get any film work done or research done. She has just gone into one of our sponsored wildlife hotels. Yeah, there's so many concepts I'm introducing here. The Wildlife Hotel. She might not come out. That's how it goes with wildlife. But she might come out. So I'll just introduce you to this area. This was created by myself, Alessia Torchini, Asia Chile. Big shout out to you all out there. Yeah, it's already 34 degrees centigrade here. That's why I'm wearing a hat today. Otherwise, you will burn your pip, as I call it. Your lid. Yeah, you can get sunstroke out here very quickly. This particular wildlife hotel, and here you can see another one that is being made, has been sponsored by international members of Associazione Suricati Italia. There are pipes and hotels. A wildlife hotel is a structure shared by many different species or inhabitants, but they are not in the same room or chamber at the same time. These are buried. They're insulated. They have sloped entrances so that water doesn't go into the chambers. And you might wonder, what are you doing? What are you saying? Wildlife hotels. What a lot of nonsense. This is not the Ritz, Trump Hotel. This is better than all of those because we created it here. It's the first time it's ever been done in history, and that's a fact. This conservation project that I am the director of, Meerkat Magic Conservation Project, works with international collaborators. And members can come out and visit us. I mentioned this is not a tourism site. That is how you can come and visit. You join as a member of an international conservation organization, and you can actually help build additional wildlife habitat. Why? Because the habitat of the digging animals has been destroyed almost all over the world where they occur, and most times people have no idea there's even anything there that they're destroying. Out of sight, out of mind. In conservation, it's a disaster. There's another world beneath our feet, the hidden world, the world of the fossorial mammals, the diggers. All right, I'm just going to zoom out here briefly. She's just emerged from the Wildlife Hotel. There is a drinking area that I maintain. Even during the drought, I make sure that there's water for the wildlife. Here you can see a little hose pipe going to my solar pump. Yeah, we're completely off-grid. Yeah, and there she is. Please notice I'm standing here right next to a wild yellow mongoose, and I'm watching her as she emerges from her wildlife hotel. And this is how we can see what she is doing in this incredible, massive area. Way off in the distance, that is the distant riverbank of the reserve. You can see the area here. It's a very large, wild area. For those who visit, you will know what it's like to walk 15 to 18 or 20 kilometers with me in a single day as we track down wild meerkats and mongooses and other wild animals like ant bear, Erycteropus afer, honey badger, Mellivora capensis, Canis mesomelas, blackback jackal. Yeah. just to name a few briefly. We also have Ateles paludinosus, the water mongoose here, Herpestes ichneumon, the largest mongoose on the planet, over a meter long, the Egyptian mongoose as it's commonly called. And we also have Herpestes pulverulenta, the Cape grey mongoose. That's right, everybody. Out of the 35 species of mongoose, we have yellow mongoose here, small grey mongoose, large grey mongoose, water mongoose, meerkat, suricate. It is probably one of the best places on planet Earth to see this number of species so close together. All live in this area. All are part of this habitat and ecology. So getting back to the wildlife hotels, why do we do them? It is the equivalent of a terrestrial coral reef. For those who are familiar with marine biologists and the conservation work that they are doing, which is critical, where reefs have been destroyed, that is habitat loss for marine life, they will sink structures, ships, and just any objects basically into the sea, and then these will be colonized and coral will grow and fish will move to those islands under the water. So these wildlife hotels, again, Associazione Suricati Italia, Association of Suricates Italy, and other wildlife that we work together with, and the Meerkat Magic Conservation Project here in the Meerkat Magic Valley Reserve. She's watching me closely. Please notice how she looks at my hand. This is a displacement reassurance. Yeah, any idea what a displacement reassurance is, everybody in psychology? I'll tell you in a moment, before we go on with the wildlife hotels. A displacement reassurance, again, NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Program, is not neuro-linguistic. It's not linguistic. It displaces an animal's attention from something they may have looked at, like a crunching twig underneath my foot, to something that they're familiar with seeing. It's a visual signal. So it's only good when they can see me. The rest of the time, when they cannot see me, for example, when she went into this wildlife hotel, she can hear me at all times. And that is very, very important, because I'm letting her know, and the bird here that you saw, that I am not a predator. Predators are stealthy. I'm saying I am the same object that you're familiar with in this neighborhood, but I'm not hunting you. I am not a threat to you. Yeah. And that's really important. I'm giving you some behind-the-scenes secrets that you would not otherwise get to know about. And by the way, if you've joined the live stream, you are part of wildlife film history. And that's a fact right now. This is the only live stream on the planet, on this rock that we are all on, filming a wild yellow mongoose right now, by a wildlife research biologist and professionally qualified nature conservationist. You are seeing what you would not get to see otherwise. As I mentioned, I do not do tourism visits anymore. So this is the only way you will get to see it, unless you are a sponsor and you have been invited out. And in order to visit, including the film crews we have worked with, you will have to pass a number of tests. So please practice your sounds. Please notice, when I do that instantly, she will look away again. That's a displacement. I'm letting her know it's me. If you don't make the codes, you will not get near any of the animals. And if any of the codes are abused, I've got backup codes. What this does is it allows me to get near wildlife and the film crews and visitors who are with me as sponsors. And if anybody tries to approach them to capture them, poach, kill, etc., they will not get anywhere near these animals. And those animals will not trust any humans, because they are not tame, which is an unselective trust. They only recognize specific codes, and I've got backup codes that nobody else except myself and the wildlife knows. Yeah, same principle. And if any of these sounds are abused, I can simply make the ones that only the animals know from me. Yeah, you can see this. Please have a look. As I mentioned, I'm over 6 foot. Yeah. This is the Stone Dojo gym, after all. Yeah. Please notice when she went running there, her tail puffed up, her pilo erected. Yeah, that's not some rude word, just by the way. Just to clarify, stands on end. Pilo, hairs, P-I-L-O. Her hair stood on end. Cats also do this, and dogs have it on their back. The ridge. Yeah, like the ridgeback dog. You're getting an incredible view looking right down at a mongoose. Please do like, sub, share, because I promise you now, you are part of wildlife film history. We don't know what is going to happen. We have got incredibly dangerous predators out here. Whoa, look at that. Look, I was just saying that. Yeah. Don't go anywhere, friends. You're part of wildlife film history. This has not even been documented except by myself. Yeah. What's going on? You might wonder. I'm your wildlife interpreter. I'm going to tell you right now, this is incredibly lucky. That is Lanius calaris, the fiscal shrike. You can Google search that name if you like. Lanius calaris. And that was a false alarm. That bird that's making the noise again, and I say noise, not the call, that is a lie. I call it the cry wolf bird. The Luxman, the butcher bird. Please notice how she's not even looking at it now. She knows it's lying. It's saying, oh, there's an alarm, there's an alarm, there's an alarm. Why is it doing that? This is deception. It also happens with the fork-tailed drongo and the square-tailed drongo. It's similar species. And I'll explain this to you now. The bird is just here. The bird makes a sound to baby meerkats especially, and to baby mongooses who don't know that it is lying. Again, air quotes, as I mentioned earlier, inverted commas on a non-scientific or anthropomorphic term. It basically says, oh, look, everyone, there's danger, there's danger. Everyone leaves their food, and the bird comes down and takes the food after making a false neighborhood alarm. And now they basically ask questions second, react first. That's how it works in nature. If you snooze, you lose, as I say. If you stick around to check what is actually dangerous, you probably will not survive. You first react, you go to a wildlife hotel, you go to one of these structures. Many places have been plowed over and destroyed by housing or agriculture, so animals do not have a place to go when there's danger. They can't go, oh, hold on, Lana Falcon, reaching speeds over 384 kilometers an hour, the fastest bird on the planet. In fact, the fastest animal on the planet, just by the way. Coming back to that point. I'm just going to dig a quick hole over here now so I can escape from your attentions because you want to eat me. As I said earlier, everything is trying to make a living of everything else. No. Yeah, game over. There is no wait, I'm going to dig up a hole so I can get away from you, predator. No. I'm just going to emphasize that again. No. Niet. Nie. Hapana. All right, for our international viewers. There's no escaping from a predator that is in the neighborhood unless you, as the prey, know exactly where to run to. Imagine you are here right now with me in the reserve, standing here with us. And here comes a lion. And I have worked around lions. Kalahari National Park, Gemsbok National Park, northwest of South Africa, border of Namibia and Botswana. Yeah, I've walked around there with them. I've also worked in Queen Elizabeth Park, Uganda, lions all over the place. Buffalo, hippopotamus. And I can promise you now, if you cannot get to safety and you are being attacked, you are just a meal ticket, a statistic. Yeah. A good friend of mine, Jason Gilchrist, who did his doctorate in Queen Elizabeth Park, Uganda, on banded mongoose, Mongo, was trampled by buffalo, and he survived cerebral malaria. Yeah, it's a tough time being a wildlife research biologist. Right now, I'm just a useful bit of shade. That's it. So many topics that I'm covering here, so I'm going to get back to what's going on with this bird, which is basically waiting around in case it can trick this mongoose into thinking there's danger. Let's zoom in to our little cry wolf bird, the deceiver. There it is. Please notice the black and white, a characteristic feature of the fiscal black and white shrike, Lanius calaris. Please note, this is not Sigillus silence, the fiscal flycatcher, which has the vibrissae, equivalent of whiskers, on its beak to catch bees and flies, etc. But this bird will fly down rapidly if it sees the mongoose right here, digging up any ant pupa, even scorpions and geckos, Tanopus garrulus especially, the barking gecko. Tuck, 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 tuck. That's the sound that they make in the Kalahari Desert. You'll hear it at sunset if you've been in that area. It's a very, very loud, deafening sound in the area at sunset. Tuck, 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 tuck. Please notice how the bird is not even alarmed, nor is the mongoose, because they're used to the sounds I make, including that one. Just a quick point here as we look around. Yeah, it's becoming a hot day today. Oh, the gunship wasp. There it is. Can you hear that? I just made a recent video about it. There it goes. It is the largest wasp species in the area. You never know what you're going to see here. So much is happening right now with the mongoose and the bird just sitting here waiting for a snack to arrive. Yeah, that wasp, that black wasp, that's in fact an aposematic or warning mark. Black, red, yellow, white. Please notice when many people say, oh, your color white and black. That's not a color. It's a shade, just to get technical here. Or pedantic. Yeah. These are aposematic or warning marks. Like the white tip to the tail. That is an aposematic mark. A visual associative key. A warning. When the tail puffs up, as you may have seen if you've been watching the stream. When she got alarmed falsely by that physical shrike, who is also black and white, marking. Please notice the meerkat has a black tip to the tail, because the meerkat is completely diurnal, active during the daytime hour. And Google out there, this is a shout out to you, who I work with through my YouTube channel, incidentally, because our Cape Cobra video went viral in under 24 hours. We got 1.2 million views, just by the way. Shout out to you, Google. Thank you for your support. But you are wrong on many topics. And one of them I just like to tell you right now needs to be updated is the yellow mongoose that you're watching right now, Cynictis penicillata, is not solely diurnal, active during the daytime hours. It is also crepuscular. Look, there's the bird just here, above the mongoose. This bird is actually parasitic to this mongoose. It's a pest. It's following the mongoose around, making false alarms, burning the mongoose's energy. The mongoose drops food, the bird benefits, it reinforces that behavior, associative learning, and it continues, etc. All right, getting back to Google. Yeah, please take note. Crepuscular, active at dawn and dusk. She's just found a little snack on the ground here. And nocturnal, active at night. I have seen yellow mongoose over the last 30 plus years of my research, since 93, active at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. So Google, you are wrong. Your information is wrong. Yeah, you can quote me on that. All right, yeah, it's daytime. Here she is. But please notice her eyes. You may have already seen, they're bright orange, beautiful. And put in a comment if you can tell me the answer, please. It's time for the meerkat man, the mongoose man test. Let's look at the anatomy. The bird has now moved on because it knows very well it's not going to be able to trick this mongoose. Again, inverted commas, anthropomorphic terms, air quotes on trick. Crunching twigs, that's the reason I also make the sound. I'm masking these sounds with something familiar with the unfamiliar. If I got her used to crunching sounds, she would become tame. A predator would make the crunching sound, she would not react. And this is a shout out to all of you research biologists who do not follow my techniques, because you are taming animals, which is a disaster. Anyone can get up to them and capture them. This happened with chimpanzees in the past. Diane Fossey, gorillas. Yeah. If you see gorillas in the mist, you'll know about this. Poachers were able to get right up to the animals that the research biologists had tamed. It's a fact, because they didn't know at the time what they were doing, unfortunately. And the survivors did not trust anybody, including the research biologists. And then people started imitating their sounds to get close to them. Meerkats have over 35 different sounds. I can make many of these sounds and I can imitate them. However, I do not. Please notice how she's coming out, because I'm making unfamiliar sounds now. She doesn't know these sounds, but meerkats do, of course. Yeah. Anyway, moving on. If you imitate animals, they will interact with you as if you're one of them, and the data you collect will be meaningless for our research biologists out there. It is called subjective data collection, and it is no good. It needs to be objective. Everybody who collects the data must be able to step away and pass the data collection folder on to somebody else who can pick it up and follow on exactly where they are. So we look at artificial marks in some wildlife research. A shout out there to you who are doing this. It is unethical. It is what I call a visual pollutant. And yes, I am very controversial with my topics because I will tell it as it is. The truth. Yeah. There are no radio transmitters here. Nothing. Niente. Nada. No BioTrack from Britain. No Telonics from America, the USA, and I've worked with these specifically. I've built them myself. Yeah. As a wildlife biotechnician, it's part of my job to be able to do that. However, I followed meerkats since 2001 here in the Meerkat Magic Valley Reserve without ever touching them. There have been no artificial markings, no gentian violet, no freeze branding, no heat branding, no tattoos, no docking, no cutting, no nothing at all has been added or removed from them. There are no visual pollutants. When you see a wild animal with me, it is wild. They are simply tolerating us because of the years and years and years of selective associative learning, NLP, that is being applied. Yeah, it is a complex topic. I've been talking almost non-stop here, and I'm not even scraping the surface. Wildlife do not get tamed in my reserve. They are wild. If you're not part of the neighborhood, you will not be able to approach them. If you're with me, with my shoes, as I mentioned, if I take these shoes to another area, I will basically create a territorial war because they have different smellogram or SSMSs, different scent on them, which is no good in an area where they do not know those smells. SSMSs are being posted all the time on a wildlife hotel. When you see an animal like her, go up and just touch it, she is actually posting a message. It's a bulletin board. It is a smell cafe, a smell shop, like an internet cafe. Social media has been tested and checked all the time. There's a war going on right now with wildlife here. I'm not kidding you. When I tell you this, meerkats will kill other meerkats from different groups. People are, oh, cute, cuddly meerkat. What absolute nonsense. The meerkats are fighting to the death when it comes to other meerkats in their territory. If they find them, they will post smellogram, SSMSs. You can quote me on any of this, of course. That's why I do it on a live stream. Yeah, presenters out there, tell the truth. You know who you are. I've worked with you. Stop putting things in so-called documentaries that don't actually happen. If you film it and it's real, sure, don't make it happen a predetermined script, as I call it, and claim it is a documentary. This is a documentary right here. All right, coming back to what's going on here. She's in a wildlife hotel, just sticking her head out there briefly. All right, I've covered a lot of topics and many I've only introduced and I haven't gone back to them because there's just so many things happening. That gunship wasp, a spider's worst nightmare. Let me finish that topic here. Yeah, if you may, please. My shoes are from this territory. If I take them anywhere else, I will not be recognized. The animals such as herself will come up and scent mark these intermittently, putting new smellogram, SSMSs on my shoe. Yeah. Out of all the billions of people on the planet right now, what you're watching, I am the only one right here next to a yellow mongoose. It's a fact. And when you're with me, we are making wildlife film history. That's another fact. It doesn't matter if you're from the BBC, National Geographic, Discovery Channel, anything else. You will not be able to do this. This is not something you can throw billions of dollars at, Elon Musk. Without me, you will not do this. It is as simple as that. It's a fact. You cannot buy it. It is not for sale. My research and ethics are not for sale. That's why I like to bring you the real deal. I'm not affiliated to any universities anymore. I will tell you exactly what I think of them and wildlife research ethics. I will not pull any punches. Yeah. So if you have questions to ask, you can ask them directly. I will tell it to you. The undiluted truth. No AI lies. No AI deception. All right, getting back to why I was talking about SSMSs earlier, send short message systems. smellogram. There are scent messages being posted all the time. The hunted hunters such as the meerkat and this yellow mongoose species, Cynictis penicillata, again, just a reminder on that, are posting messages all the time. I was talking about her activity periods. Please note as she comes to investigate me. Yes, it's just me. You will notice in a moment she will look away again. Let's see if we can get a closer view of her anatomy. I was just touching on the activity periods. Yeah. White tip to the tail because she is also active at night, Google. Again, a shout out to you for your incorrect information, Google. Yeah. Black tip to the tail. Meerkats are completely diurnal. They have a round pupil like ours. The yellow mongoose has a... I'm giving you 5 seconds to tell me in comments if you know what kind of pupil they have. Is it a vertical pupil like that of a cat? Is it round like that of a meerkat? Or is it something else? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And for those who did not get the question correct, answer correct, rather, here's the answer. She has a vertically slitted pupil. If she was a cat, this mongoose has a horizontally slitted pupil. I wonder if we'll get closer. Let me give you an idea. Oh, right on cue. Aren't we lucky? Look at those beautiful eyes. Yeah. All right, back on my haunches here, giving you an unprecedented view of her. Let's have a look at what it's like, mongoose vision, when you're under 20 centimeters off the ground. That's what you'll be seeing. So when you're looking for safety, you need to follow smell messages. If you cannot see where you're going, you need to be able to smell where you are going. Hence the world of smell. So she has yellowy orange eyes and a horizontally slitted pupil is the answer, friends. Yes, like that of a goat. Not a vertically slitted pupil like that of a cat, and not a round pupil like that of a meerkat. Meerkats have dark eye masks. I call them built-in sunglasses. The equivalent of Ray-Bans, the good old Ray-Bans. Please notice the fiscal shrike right here. Yeah, here I am. Here's the shrike. Please notice how it's not alarming because I am not a threat to the shrike. It knows I'm just part of the neighborhood. Please notice the mongoose. Please, however, notice, we might hear the shrike is watching. Look, 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 look. Check this out. Just above the yellow mongoose is the shrike right now. Interspecies communication. It's watching carefully in case she digs up any food. If it thinks she's got a particularly nice piece of food, it will suddenly make an alarm to try and trick her to leave the food. That she's no noob. That's a gaming term for our gaming friends out there when it comes to this environment. She knows the sounds. She's been here for a long time, November 2018, when she was born. The next generation, please do follow along and like and follow my YouTube channel where I post most content daily. There are over 1,600 videos there. Over 2 million views already for a wildlife channel. All right, I have to stand up. That's way too uncomfortable. The bird is still sitting in the tree. Thank you for all the invites. However, I will not be co-hosting, not while I'm streaming. Yeah, there it is, right here, everyone. Look, and this time it actually worked. Look at the mongoose running. The mongoose ran to another wildlife hotel, and the bird will benefit directly from the deception. That is why I call it the cry wolf bird. You have seen it. We have documented it. This is a wildlife documentary right now happening live. But please notice the bird lied. The bird has lied. That's inverted commas, anthropomorphic term, but it did. It deceived the mongoose. The mongoose ran away from where it was digging, foraging up food. Yeah. National Geographic, by the way, that was my information you put in your feature film about meerkats. I documented that with Dicrurus et similis and Ludwigi species. Yeah. the fork-tailed and square-tailed drongo back in the early 90s already, before it was on National Geographic, where I said, these birds are making false alarms. Also, Toccus nasutus, flavirostris, erythrorhynchus, the hornbills. You can check those species. I won't get into all the common names. Yeah, there goes the bird. The mongoose is back. The bird failed. Yeah, because the mongoose knows that was a fake alarm. But she wasted energy. So that is why I said this bird is basically parasitic. Now, I talked about this before National Geographic went and claimed credit for my work, which is often the case with film crews, by the way. And a shout out to all of you film crews out there. You know who you are and what I'm talking about. It is us, the wildlife research biologists, who wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning here to go out for years and years and years to make your few minutes of viewing pleasure possible while you sit on a couch under air-conditioned units. We are getting burned by the harsh sunlight and freezing conditions. Temperatures can go over 50 degrees centigrade, not Fahrenheit, centigrade, friends. Yeah, she's having a yawn. Let's zoom in there. Getting sunburned, getting cramps, and we sit for hours and hours or stand for hours using Nikon magnification 70, 80 magnification telescopes from hundreds of meters away from meerkats and mongoose. Eventually, over many years, we get closer. Presenter comes in and goes, oh, look what I just did. I can walk up to a mongoose. No, you cannot. Not without us, you cannot. Yeah, and that's a shout out to Sir David Attenborough as well, because without the wildlife research biologists, who are full-time, not part-time visitors, you will never get to see what you see in the films made by BBC and others, and that's a fact. You can quote me on any of that, and that's why I film it. Yeah, so that you know I'm not taking this back. What I say is true. Brrr, that fiscal shrike is still waiting. Well, there it is. Let's zoom in again. Yeah. The lyre bird, the cry wolf bird. You saw that mongoose that we've been following for the last, what, how long has the stream gone on for now? I don't even look at the time. Time is irrelevant out here. Yeah. We've been streaming for a long time. Anyway, the fact is, every second is wildlife film history in the making for the longest live stream on yellow mongoose ever. The last one we did was over 1 hour, 20 minutes, uninterrupted truth. Anyway, that fiscal strike made an alarm. Our film star here ran away from the alarm briefly and wasted her energy. But the fiscal strike did not benefit because she didn't find any food. Maybe it thought there was food, but there wasn't food. Yeah. There's a lot of trickery, inverted commas on that term again, non-scientific, in this world out here. Yeah, the bird that looks innocuous, harmless, sitting up there on that river reed is just waiting to trick the mongoose. Oh, look, here's danger, here's danger. Waste your energy. Dig up food that it cannot dig up for itself, and then it will come down and take the food and reinforce that behavior. So I was mentioning hornbills, drongos, starlings, and other species in the Kalahari Desert, again, northwestern regions of South Africa, where I've worked for 7 years in the past, doing my research with Cambridge University Large Animal Research Group and the University of Pretoria in South Africa Mammal Research Institute. Moving on. You can Google search any of my scientific publications. That fly was trying to end its career. It's a bad career move, fly, to fly into my mouth. Luckily, this one got out. Yeah, everything is coming out to investigate in this neighborhood. As I mentioned, I'm just part of the neighborhood. Out here, we've got many interesting predators as well. This is a shout out to our herpetologist friends out there. The mongoose is coming out again. Yeah, we've got Bitis eritans, the puff adder. Thank you to all of our viewers out there. We had over 57,000 views on that little video clip of the snake swimming across the reserve river here. It's the first time since I've been in the reserve from 2008 that I've seen the snake species in the water like that. And of course, Najanivia, Cape Cobra, has neurotoxic venom. It attacks the nervous system and can result in cardiovascular failure, paralysis, and death. Yeah. And then, of course, Bitis eritans, the puff adder, die pofadder. Yeah, they have cytotoxic or cell-destroying venom causing localized necrosis, which can spread. Not a nice way to go. And then we have Dyspolydus typus, the boomslang. Yeah, the tree snake, not the vine snake, Thelatornis capensis. Yeah, Dispolydus typus. The boomslang is also here. I've only seen a few of them over the year, and I did a film on this recently, and I'll upload it when I get around to it. I've got an endless list of videos. That's also why I like the live stream to be direct, because I don't have to edit it. When I'm finished with this, I can upload all my other backlog of videos for decades, because there are so many. Yeah, anyway, let me get back to some of the topics I had started telling you about before I got rudely interrupted by another topic. Yeah, that wasp. The reason I call it the gunship of wasps. You may have heard it flying around, the wings flapping loudly. That is a warning. It's letting you know, don't even be a fool and come up close, because I will sting you. I will sting your ass. I don't usually use terms like that, but it is very funny when I see this wasp, because people who don't know the wasp have no idea that it is not in fact hunting them. It is what I call the spider's worst nightmare. Yeah. These gunship wasps are spider killers, and the spiders cannot hide from them, just like food cannot hide from the meerkat and mongoose with their super senses of smell. No camouflage is effective when you are being smelled. You will be found. There is no escape. There is no hiding. Even scorpions and other creatures under the ground, 1 meter or 2 meters deep, have no way of escaping from these predators. They will smell them and find them. Yeah. So the wasp hunts the spider. It walks along the ground mainly. It will only fly briefly, and then it will track down the spiders, dig them out, and sting the spider. Yeah. It will not kill the spider. And the fiscal shrike has just come down. It will sting the spider, paralyze the spider, and eat the spider alive. People think, no, it does not. The wasp does not eat the spider. Its egg will hatch out, which it lays on the spider, and eat the spider alive. The wasp selflessly paralyzes a spider after hunting it down, and it's for the next generation of spiders' worst nightmare, killing wasps, because it will lay the egg on the spider, and it's what I call nature's solution to the refrigeration system. Again, a shout out to all of our human developers and inventors out there. No, we are not ahead in many technologies. Nature has come up with its own solutions. Yeah. So that is the equivalent of the wasp's nature's refrigerator. It keeps the wasp offspring's food nice and fresh, and then it will hatch and eat the spider alive, slowly. That's why I say it is a wasp's incredible part of the ecology here, to hunt down baboon spiders the size of my hand, a human hand, tarantulas as some people call them. They are very uncommon here. I've made films on them. It's very, very unfortunate. Of course, for our arachnophobe friends out there, you will be delighted to know that there is somebody out there hunting wasps 24/7, hunting spiders as well. So, yeah, the birds also hunting the wasps. As I said, hunted hunters. Everything is trying to make a living of everything else. So if you think you're getting away from something out here, you would be wrong, because there are things that are hunting all the time. All the time. I'm moving to a different position here. Let's see if we can have a better look at this wildlife hotel as our film star is having a little siesta. Shout out to our Mexican friends out there. ¿Cómo está? ¿Cómo está? Our Italian. And yeah. Just for our international viewers, I was talking about names earlier. Gakulu Cucciolina, little puppy. Cenerentola. Cenerentola is Italian for Cinderella. Yes, this is one of her names. And you can help name the new generation. First come, first serve. I take name suggestions. We get thousands of names. I will choose the ones for the next generation of the Tsebokolori Yellow Mongoose group. Tsabokolori is Tswana for millipede. It's an arthropod. There's the fiscal shrike again. Tsabokolori. The Tsabokolori yellow mongoose family group named after her mother, Tsabokolori. Shongololo, the Zulu name for the millipede. I believe it is a Shangaan name for Tragelaphus strepsiceros, kudu. Yeah, I might be wrong on that. Changing names happens a lot. Even the scientific names, which are not supposed to be changed, supposedly are being changed so many times over. Some of them many times since I learned them in '93 already. Yeah, but it is still better to know a scientific name, because I can mention the scientific name and anybody on the planet who is a research biologist can find that species without a doubt. Whereas in this country alone, the last I checked, is it 12 official languages? I think that's including sign language. Yeah, that's the usual call of the fiscal shrike. There it goes. That's the normal sound. That's not the alarm. And as you can see, the mongoose is not alarming. The fiscal shrike has basically given up, again, human term, to describe animal behavior. And she's out again. We are being incredibly lucky. She could have just gone into the hole right at the start of the stream and not come out again. Just letting her know it's the same noisy object. Nothing else is happening. Okay, getting back to my point about the common names. Many common names in South Africa. I was talking about the stink meisont and how that is misleading because it is not even a mongoose. It is a member of the Mustelidae family. Badgers, otters, ferrets. It is not a member of the Herpestidae family. Mustelidae family, honey badgers, Mellivora capensis, Lutra maculicollis, spotted-necked otter, Aeonyx capensis, Cape clawless otter, who are all living in this area, just by the way. Yeah, so it's not a member of the Herpestidae family. Gelidinae, the mongooses, Viveridae. Janets and civets are the closest living relatives of the meerkat, the suricat, suricati, suricata. Double T on that. Yeah, suricata, TTA. Yeah. The meerkat, many people just say, oh, meerkat's a mongoose. I am not one of those people. Yeah. There are many anatomical differences between the meerkat and the typical mongoose. I was talking about the 5 nails on the front feet. Let's zoom in there. Non-retractile nails. Short nails on the front. 4 short nails on the back feet. The meerkat has 4 long nails on the front feet, sometimes over 1 centimeter in length, and 4 short nails on the back feet. The meerkat has a specialized fleshy valve. So does the banded mongoose, Mongos mongo. So does Halogali, Hurtula, and Parvula, the dwarf mongoose, dwergmeisond. They only weigh about 350 grams or so for an adult, which is the equivalent of a 3 to 5 month old meerkat baby. Meerkats will weigh about 750 to 800 grams in the wild. So meerkat and the yellow mongoose pretty much weigh the same and are the same length as well. However, this yellow mongoose, a true mongoose, is much more cat-like. The meerkat is much more dog-like. That's why I say they should really be called a meerhond, more dog. Yeah. The yellow mongoose has fine hairs covering its ears. It does not have a fleshy valve that can expand to seal off the ear canal like the meerkat has. That's a huge anatomical difference. To just say, oh, it's the same meerkat. No, it is not. There's nothing else like the meerkat. The banded mongoose has 5 nails on the front feet and the back feet. Meerkat, again, 4 and 4. Typically, most mongoose species have 5 on the front, 5 on the back. Again, yellow mongoose, it's like a transition. 5 on the front, 4 on the back. It's very peculiar. All right, but it has very fine hair covering its ears. There, she's falling asleep. You can see the dark, which look almost like mascara lines because they have a black lining around their eyes, almost like American football players. A shout out to you out there, my friends in the USA. My friends all over the world who have visited me in the reserve. over the decades. These are able to absorb reflective light. Many predators attack from the direction of the sunlight, like Maiairkat bellicosus, the martial eagle, Melierax canoris, the black wingtip. People see it, that it is in fact the pale chanting goshawk. Yeah. Please notice how she's not even looking at me as I make these sounds. She doesn't need to. Just like the meerkats have the etiquette, so do the mongooses here. They let each other know where they are at all times. So they don't need to waste time and energy looking around in case they don't know where they are. Next to them, they know, this is my food, says the one meerkat. This is my food. This is my food, this is my breakfast, this is my lunch, this is my dinner. Get your own. People who think, this is a little tangent off the yellow mongoose briefly, when the meerkat is making sounds and they all seem to be walking along together, that everyone is getting on fine with each other. No. That is why the meerkat sounds get louder as they get closer together. The volume and frequency, the call amount, and the loudness of the sound increase with proximity or closeness. As they get closer together, the sounds are warnings. This is my food. This is my food. Get your own or else. And then if they do not listen to each other, they will be attacked. Yes, the meerkats are making sounds to keep each other apart and collectively hunt out in the daytime hours when predators like I mentioned earlier, Maiairkat bellicosus, I love that name, martial eagle, are out hunting them. So why did I mention the black eyeliner in the anatomy and the meerkat's built-in sunglasses? Because, let's see, let me blind you all for a moment as we look for the powerful soul up there. Yeah, we're all spinning around you right now, hey? There we go. Oh, look, just up ahead. Bit of cloud cover. We've got some cirrus, wispy ice clouds coming over. The Great Black Mountain Range will have snow on it in the next few months probably. Yeah, getting back to what's happening. So, the meerkats have a solution for predators that attack from the direction of the sunlight. They've got those built-in dark eye masks which absorb reflective light. Please notice how her eyes have those eyeliners. So that also absorbs reflective light. Even right now, she's watching for potential predators attacking from the direction of the sunlight, which gives them an advantage over many prey items like mice. When we look at one of the elephants' relatives, it's difficult to believe for many, but it's true. Procavia capensis, as people on TikTok will know them, the wawas, they go wah, wah. Yeah, the little wawas, I've seen that a lot. Procavia capensis, yes, they live here as well. They have an umbraculum. Yeah, you probably have not heard of this recently, or maybe ever. The umbraculum is the rock hyrax, the clip-dusty solution to filtering out the glare from the sunlight. When predators attack from the direction of the sunlight, the umbraculum in the rock hyrax filters out the light. It's just another solution for the same challenge. Brrr, please notice that twig I crunched. Brrr. Yeah, immediately. Please don't be deceived. She's checking me out big time. All right. The hand movement I made, it's all right. It's just me. She's watched this since she was a baby. She knows. Without that, she will simply go back into the hotel and we will not see her. So I can alarm her easily. I can lose her trust easily. The difference is I've got backup sounds which she knows are only ever made when she's completely relaxed, like the sound of my voice right now, like the following. Please test yourself. Viewers out there, mic check, testing, 1, 2, 3. Are you ready? At home, all over the world, I want you to please make these sounds. Let's go. I'll start it off easily. Ha ha, ha ha ha. Please notice film crews from around the world, BBC, National Geographic and Discovery have had to make these sounds as well to pass my test before they could get near the wildlife you have seen in our films. And I taught them the same way I'm going to show you right now. Ha ha, ha ha ha, ha ha ha. That's pretty easy, yeah? Like a humming sound. Ha ha. Now we go a bit faster. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Our rappers out there with all your talent, I'm sure you can get this easily, but let's see. Now faster. Let's rack it up a gear. Now we go to the actual speed. Now those are actual sounds that meerkats will make. These are what we call contact calls. They will make these sounds to let each other know there's no threat, there's no danger. If there's a predator nearby, they'll make a single note, double note, triple note, or multiple note. All of those sounds have different meanings. Yeah, I've been studying this for decades. It is a language. It doesn't matter where a meerkat is as a pet around the world, in Russia, Japan, South Korea, Australia, England, and Italy. And I know many of them. They all have exactly the same sounds. They are born with these sounds. They're instinct. Just like humans, born anywhere on the planet, before we all start using different languages, we are all able to cry, and everybody knows that sound. Yeah, that's instinct right there. So it's associative learning, and that's how I've learned to recognize different meerkat sounds as well. Here's another little test. Are you ready? Here we go. It's a bokololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololol It's a bokalolololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololololol tick, tick. Please notice how she's not even looking at me. These are background sounds that she recognizes. Some of these sounds, the one that I'm most familiar with, that is associated with me since 1993, from the meerkat's actual call. She's looking at me now. She doesn't recognize that sound. So I'll make one that she does recognize. Yeah, and she's looking away again. Closing her eyes. Yeah, I basically put meerkats and mongooses to sleep because they are so relaxed. And these are wild animals. Again, for those who are just joining the stream, you might be going, what on earth is happening here? You're watching a wild mongoose in a wildlife hotel in my private reserve in South Africa. Hello there. Shout out to you. I hope you're having a great day. It's the man behind the hand. It's also the Meerkatman, the Mongoose man. All right, moving on. Yeah, it's becoming a scorcher out here in the oven. Now it must be about 37 degrees centigrade, and the flies are coming to visit me because I'm nice and shady over here. She's got her own shade there right now. All right, getting back to some of the sounds. So the humming sound, that was an easy one. Then all right, other sounds. Please notice how she's looking at that sound, and I'll make a sound that she recognizes. She knows that sound because meerkats make it. That isn't what we call a rolling call. Those who have meerkats, and maybe you have one or you have seen one or you've come across one in there. The strike is back. That's why she was looking up. I was wondering why she was looking just straight up above my head. That's quite an alarm. I've had eagles nearly land on me before. Yeah, that will age you a few years, as I like to say. Yeah. Suddenly you have a predator land right next to you because you're just an object when you're a wildlife research biologist, as you can see, as I've been explaining all morning already with the stream. Fiscal Shrike is just sitting there in the tree waiting for our host over here to potentially bring up a snack for it. Yeah. All right, there she's relaxing again. Yeah. Even the slightest twig crunching sound and she will react. And as I mentioned earlier, I want her to react. Any predator that makes a sound like that must be recognized as a threat. I don't want her to get used to those sounds, coughing, sneezing, etc. I will mask those sounds. If you were with me right here in the reserve now, you would have to pass the test firstly before even seeing the animals. You'd be standing right next to me in case they come up to sniff us. Again, I mentioned my wildlife shoes with the smell on them. You would be then scent associated with me as part of the mobile territory. And if we made any sounds that they didn't recognize, coughing and sneezing, which are pretty much unavoidable, I would then call over them with something familiar. And these are key techniques I'm teaching you. All right, you can see her in that pipe. Observe, if you will, what happens if I move without calling. Yeah, that's how quick it is, and how quick her reaction is to being completely relaxing again when I call. That is interspecies communication. That is NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, and that has taken many, many, many years of work. Yeah. Anybody who even makes a crunching sound approaching the area, the birds will alarm. Even an insect will alarm. And in my Meerkats book of 2016, which you can Google search, author the Meerkatman, Grant mcilrath, it's still out there. You can check the ISBN book search. It's in good libraries and universities around the world. Well, yeah. Coming back to this topic here, but this bird has got my attention. It's busy looking for snacks. Ah, there it is right here. Yeah, there it is. Please notice. This is an unedited wildlife documentary. The truth, just above the mongoose. This bird is not here by chance. For those who've been watching the stream, you all have seen. This is happening for real. This bird has come back to the mongoose because it sees it as an easy mark. Yeah, just using a bit of slang there. The mongoose is the bird's mark. The mongoose is being parasiticized by this bird. Yeah. Look at that. The bird is just here. Please also... Oh, she's watching the bird. She looked at it briefly. Yeah, she's watching it. Because the bird could make an alarm which could be real. And that is why the bird is successful some of the times. Because it makes a false alarm when there's no danger. And the mongoose will react. Because if the mongoose does not react and it is a real... Oh, look at that big yawn. Yes, you've heard it all before. That is an anthropomorphism right there that I made. Non-scientific. And I don't care. Yes, yellow mongoose. Stretching out her legs in front of her. What a pleasure. The Wildlife Hotel, thank you so much. Alessia Torchini from Italy and Asia Chile, the president of Associazione Suricati Italia, for sponsoring this beautiful wildlife hotel. You will not know what is inside here, but the video, which is yet to be edited, has shown this massive chamber which I have created here, the pipelines buried. And I was talking about this earlier when I mentioned artificial coral reefs. We create artificial wildlife hotels. The animals decide to use them for themselves because they can move into an area like this, which had nothing for them, where they cannot simply dig a hole to escape from a predator. I was touching on that topic earlier. And now they can get below underground rapidly, and then they can come out at their leisure and dig up and recolonize an area. This is direct fossorial mammal, digging mammal conservation in action, and it is unique in the world to our work together. The Meerkat Magic Conservation Project and Associazione Suricati Italia. There, she's falling asleep again. The sounds are like meditative sounds. Of course, I've made these sounds for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours. And that is where they gradually become this associative learning. So, yes, I could lose her trust quickly, except I have backups. I cannot simply walk up to any random mongoose or meerkat, incidentally, for the same reason you can't either approach here without being noticed. I was talking about an insect in my Meerkats book. Yeah, I didn't forget that topic. The cicada, I call it the silent call, the poem. The loudest call of all is the silent call from the cicada, which is an insect I call the bush thermometer. When it gets to temperatures higher than this, it will start making a whining sound like wee. Yeah, I call it the bush thermometer because it's basically predictable. When it gets to that temperature, the bush thermometer, these insects start whining. You might be familiar with them. They're in different hot climates around the world. When anybody gets near one of these insects, they stop calling. So what, you might think? So why am I talking about an insect? Because even the insects are part of the neighborhood watch, my friends. Yeah. If the insect is calling and these animals have grown up with this insect sound and it stops, they also learn by associative learning. There's something that has made a disturbance in the neighborhood, and that is why the insect is quiet, because it also does not want to be captured, so it does not reveal its location. Antelope like springbuck, Antidorcus marsupialis, what a name. Who thinks of these names, people? Yeah. Epiceros malampus. The impala, the rooibok. Yeah. I can go on. Taurotragus oryx, the eland, but I'm going to stop there for now. Those are just a few of the species in the reserve area. And if the insect stops calling, they will suddenly be pricking up their ears in high alert because they will know something has changed. They all learn by association, just like the birds that have been following the mongoose around know that I am not a danger. How can I be dangerous if the mongoose is not alarming? And the same is true. I cannot simply walk into a different neighborhood where they do not know me. And if I go, brrr, it will mean nothing to them except danger, potentially. Yeah, and that is why it takes a long time for even the insects not to alarm when I am around. Specifically cicadas, they will carry on calling. And that is because the mongoose, the meerkats, the antelope, everything around the neighborhood knows me. They all know me. And now you probably know why. You'll probably be sleeping tonight hearing in your mind. Yeah, now imagine thousands of hours of being in a wildlife reserve. Anybody who approaches these animals will not get near them. It is for the animals' protection. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to give a shout out for what I call one of our internet trolls out there on YouTube. Yeah, I love that. They say don't feed the trolls. I fed this troll so much, a literal banquet. Yeah, and I'll explain why. Because they were like, Grant, why are you making those annoying sounds, man? Just leave the animals in peace. So I will explain. These sounds, sound of my voice, the calls, are exactly so that these animals can live in peace, because nobody else can get anywhere near them to capture them. And if other research biologists and film crews don't make the sounds that I've taught them, poachers and people who mean the animals harm will be able to get up to them, because those animals will be tame like a cat or dog that just trusts everybody. What's to stop somebody with bad intentions in harming their animal if it can just walk right up to that particular animal? I say it. That's what I call poachers. I dehumanize them because what they do is not humane. There was an SSMS, a send short message system for those who are following the stream. A smallogram message. There we go. Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk. Yeah. There's your X, your Twitter, your WhatsApp, your Instagram right there. That is the wildlife version. Yep. It's been around long before we supposedly invented it or thought of it. Yeah, we're way behind. Humans are way behind animals in nature. And that is why I say there's a big difference. You can always learn something when you're out in nature's classroom. Please notice she's had a little siesta. Again, a shout out to my Mexican friends out there. What a great term. She's found some snacks. Maybe some termites have come up. That was a bad career move, termites. Just like that fly trying to commit suicide, harikiri. Yeah, getting swallowed by me, but luckily it got out. Yeah, all right, let's see what happens. You're getting an incredible, unprecedented view of a wild yellow mongoose. This is my view from 6 foot above ground, looking down at a mongoose. Please notice her very long hairs, many of which are so long that we call them guard hairs. Meerkats also have them, except unlike the meerkats, the yellow mongoose has hair underneath its feet and all around its stomach area, underside. It's very thick, and it means it can be active at night, as I've mentioned. Again, shout out to you, Google, with your incorrect information saying yellow mongoose cynictis peniculata is solely diurnal. That's not correct. For those who missed this information, yellow mongoose is crepuscular, active at dawn and dusk, and diurnal, active during the daytime hours, and nocturnal, active at night. Facts. Yes. Going back to this. So, they can be active even when it rains. Yeah. Now, the meerkat doesn't come out when it rains, because if it gets wet, it can die of hypothermia. The meerkat has coarse hair like that of a dog. The yellow mongoose here has fine hair like cat fur. So it's much more cat-like than the typical dog-like meerkat. I was talking about the anatomical differences earlier. Yellow mongoose has fine paper-like ears with fine hair covering them. It does not have a fleshy valve. Where is she heading? Let's see if we can follow her. Shout out to our USA friends. You might recognize Shinus mole, an ornamental pepper tree, all the way from California. Yeah. These trees are planted all around South Africa. They are in fact alien invasive species. However, I leave them here because this is a historical reserve farmstead, the Meerkatmanchen research base. And these are very quick growing trees, incredibly drought resistant, and they have ornamental peppers. So they are not true pepper like the black pepper, just for our botanist friends out there. Of course, being a zoologist, it's about studying everything in the area. Animal and plant life, fauna, animals, flora, plants. Yeah, so Shinus mole, Californian pepper tree, or just the pepper tree. The peppers are not ripe yet, but they become bright pink. And they are more expensive. And our chefs out there will know this and can attest to that. And these are still babies. They'll become as large as black peppercorns, but again, they are not related species. She's come past another wildlife hotel. They are never far from safety, as I'm able to follow her again, walk with wildlife animal adventures. Mongoose magic moments. Oh, it's lovely and cool beneath this tree. Could be about 6 to 8 degrees cooler, and I have used digital thermometers in the Kalahari Desert to test temperatures throughout the day. Yeah, you start getting a good idea about actual temperature variations within a few degrees. There's an SMS. So she's busy checking smell mail. That's right, smell mail, smellogram, SMSs. For those who've been watching the stream from the start, you will know I've been streaming now for a long time. Relatively speaking, certainly it is the longest wildlife stream in history on a yellow mongoose, that's a fact. Yeah. The unedited wildlife documentary, the behind the scenes in science, true documentary. Not AI lies and deception. All right, she's checked her smell, mail over there, and back into the wildlife hotel. All right, it's getting seriously hot. Ooh, there's another big yawn. If I'm very careful, I might be able to get closer. Again, I do not want to disturb her. I have to be extremely careful at all times. When I'm working with mongooses, like the banded mongoose in groups of 60 plus, it is absolutely critical to understand where everyone is at all times. There you can see her. Lovely. Again, I'm not perceived to be a threat. I'm looking directly at her and she's looking directly at me on my haunches right now. I'm letting her know where I am at all times. She doesn't have to check, where are you? I'm saying, here I am, here I am, here I am. Just like I was explaining meerkats do all the time. Yeah, the mongoose that we have here, the Cynictis peniculata, is much more quiet. If you would like to hear some of the sounds that they make, which are incredibly rare to record, please do go check out my YouTube channel. If you join the YouTube channel, please drop a comment, which I will reply to. Where are you from? give me some name suggestions, please, for the yellow mongoose babies, which we could be seeing coming to visit in the next few weeks, that were only born a few days ago on the 28th of February. Please also suggest the Ungulungu meerkat names for the 4 babies who are alive and well, born just before Christmas last year. That was the first time a live stream on meerkats with the babies emerging has ever been filmed, and it was done here by myself. And those who joined the live stream can still see it, and those who didn't can also still see it. There's another big yawn. Check out the YouTube channel, please. I think there's a link on my TikTok profile, but you can find me anywhere on the internet. Also check out my Facebook social media, free to join groups, Meerkat Magic Moments and Mongoose Magic Moments. Also WhatsApp for our WhatsApp friends out there. Yeah, the Stone Dojo Gym Martial Arts Dojo can be visited by the public. It is open to the public. It is an outdoor gym. It is unique in the world as well, by the way. There are many unique aspects in this area. It's a community gym that I created here for the 40+ students, the children out there. Shout out to any of you watching now, by the way. Many of them will be watching. And usually on the weekends and school holidays, they'll come to visit. Yeah, well, it's been a beautiful morning. I've covered many different topics very briefly, just as an introduction. If you'd like to know more, you can come out and visit as a sponsor. All right. Anything can happen. This is how it is all the time. In the distance, the Cape Crow Corvus capensis. Let's see if we can get a zoom on that. Just a mere speck in the sky. Yeah, that is not a threat to her. It is a warning. Because that bird will often attack eagles and other large birds of prey. And that sound that it is making now has not caused any alarm from her. However, if it makes it sound rapidly, she will become alarmed because it means there's something that has disturbed that bird. Other birds will suddenly fly up like the black korhaan, Eupodotus afra, making a loud cackling sound. And then you can be sure, because it is a terrestrial nesting bird, that something has disturbed it. And that is why it is suddenly flown off into the sky. Let's see, just her feet are sticking out. Oh, what a pleasure. Look at this. I'm now within 1.5 meters of our world-famous film star. Yeah, I think it's time just to give a little greet and shout out to some of our international friends out there. Yeah, konnichiwa. Minasan tomodachi. Salbona, unjani, gikona wenunka, wenunjani. Salanegash le hambanegash, le gushle gakulia, is kui shisa. It really is a kuya shisa, very hot today. Buon pomeriggio, amica. Ciao a tutti, to our Italian friends. Guarda per favore, mangusta. E chubi, casa. Dumela, likai ritengonukai. To our Sutu friends. Dumelang, dumelang. Uchuhile yang. To our Tswana friends. To our Swahili friends, Central Africa. Ujambo rafiki, si jambo, habari yako, mzuri sana, asante sana, safari njema. Another big yawn. Look at that. For those who have been following my work, I mentioned earlier, she has no lower teeth. The 2 canines have been taken out by a terrible fight that she had. She nearly died. She has no incisors, lower teeth, and her lower lip has been ripped off. That's why sometimes her tongue sticks out. Check out all the YouTube. Oh, look, 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 look. The spider killer is back. You can hear it. All right, I'm going to leave her there for a moment. Let's see if we can get closer to this wasp. Where have you gone? Ah, there it is, there it is, there it is. Come, 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 come. I'm doing this for you, friends. I hope I don't get stung on live stream. Ah, it's gone. Just briefly stopping there for a moment. A spider's worst nightmare. It came to investigate a scent. That means after a few days ago where we had a little spattering of drizzle, a spider has walked here. There's no doubt about it. That wasp has got incredible olfactory senses. It would have landed, followed that smell, the spider has gone. Luckily for the spider. And that brrr, flying off again, that big gunship. All right, it's gone. Let me show you before I finish the stream some of the other wildlife hotels. Yeah, many different species visited here, including the meerkats from the Ungulungu meerkat group that I've been protecting since 2001. Yeah, look at this, lovely and cool. I built this entire wall. None of this has been done by machines. As I like to say, applied gym, power with purpose. The Stone Dojo Gym. If you want to come out and help build wildlife hotels, you can. And there's the world famous Stone Dojo Gym. You can Google map that. The Stone, S-T-O-N-E, Dojo, D-O-J-O, which means place of the way or place of learning. Shout out to my Japanese friends. Utsukushi, Shotokan Karate Budo Dojo. Domo arigato gozaimashita. Yeah. It's a martial arts dojo. Unique in the world, in fact. Yeah. Check out, I have a separate channel just for the Stone Dojo with all our students training there. All right, back to what's happening here. So this is another wildlife hotel. Some people who've watched my YouTube channel will be familiar with it. It's insulated. Yeah, the burrow systems can be 10 degrees warmer under the ground than the surface temperature is in winter and 10 degrees cooler than it is in summer. So it's like an air conditioning unit on the hot days or a blanket on the cooler days. I dug this out. Yeah, this is a lot of work. Please don't be mistaken. I use my gym to create wildlife habitat. The river system, I have dug up areas during the drought through the sand, just like elephants do, which inspired me to make water holes. And this is always full. Even in the most severe droughts, I leave water in here. So this is as hard as cement or concrete. And I can assure you, that is why I'm here in the first place, because these soils are unique geology in this area. All around us, we have an ancient riverbed system like the Kuruman, the Nosob, and the Ayob river system up in the Kalahari Desert. There's our film star just poking her head out, watching what I'm doing. Yeah, ancient riverbeds. That is the distant river bank. That's how enormous this place was. For our geologist friends out there, or those who are not familiar with this, I will explain. Let me drop some truth on you. This is calcrete and kaolinite clay, chalk deposits. And the Stone Dojo behind us has rocks all the way from the Great Black Mountain Range. Let's zoom in on what we call the old man of the mountain. You will see this in my Meerkat's book when he's covered in snow. There you can see the top of the head, the forehead, the eyelash, the nose. He's lying on his back looking up at the sky. Yeah, very, very famous in this area. Yeah. Although I do not reveal the specific location of the wildlife hotels or animals I work with, I do let people know. If you would like to visit, you can visit the gym because it is public domain. Just drop me a WhatsApp, come out and visit, and I'll give you the most intensive outdoor exercise you've ever experienced in your life. Shout out to Dwayne Johnson and any others out there. Doesn't matter how powerful anyone is, I promise you now, when you're training outdoors, it is a completely different scenario to an indoor gym with air conditioning units. When we are running, when we are mountain biking on secretive trails through these reserve areas, which are not open to the public, by the way, but you can attend, bring your bike with, bring your camping site, come out here, come visit me. That's the fiscal shrike calling still. But that is not the alarm. as I walk closer, she's looking because, of course, I'm masking the sounds of these dried up, crunchy twigs. All right. It's so peaceful out here. Sometimes. Yeah. Please notice that is not the alarm call from the bird. And our film star is completely relaxed. Her eyes are closed. It is not the correct time of the year for the cicada, that insect, to be calling. They are seasonal. But if they were calling now, it would be a deafening humming sound in the background with the bird calls punctuating it occasionally. All right, the shrike has flown down briefly to go look for some food. And there we have the Karoo scrub robin back. This is the ally. Again, this bird never, in my experience of years following it, makes an alarm call towards anything that isn't in fact dangerous. In other words, it's not parasitic like the fiscal shrike is. It doesn't make false alarms. When it alarms, that's legit. There is something definitely there that is dangerous, and it benefits the mongoose, because then the mongoose will become alarmed, and this is the Aerial Survey Alliance. When the mongoose is alarmed, the bird benefits, and the bird also benefits from potential food from the mongoose. She's watching it closely, because sometimes the bird, which is insectivorous, I mentioned earlier in the stream, will find tasty snacks, ants and ant pupa and termites. Here's just another shout out to any of our entomologist friends. Look at that big yawn. Yeah, she's heard this so many times before. Again, anthropomorphisms there. A termite is not an ant. Yeah. The termite is not an ant. It is related to the cockroach, just by the way. So the Afrikaans name, which is very misleading, reismier. Yeah, shout out in the comments there to our Afrikaans viewers. You know what I'm talking about. A reismier, a rice ant, if we translate it directly. It is not a mier. It is not an ant. It is a kakkerlak. Dit is verwant aan die kakkerlak species. Yeah, that sounds like a rude word, kakkerlak, but it means cockroach. Well, that also sounds like a rude word, I guess. Anyway, isn't language funny? Can't censor me on that, everybody. Yeah. Of course, as I cook out here for your pleasure, probably watching from a nice air conditioning unit, let me just zoom out here while the mongoose is sitting in the lovely shady hotel. And the fiscal shrike is in the shade of the pepper tree. I am absolutely cooking out here. Yeah, check this out. It's getting hot now. It's easily 38 degrees centigrade. Whoa. And the ground is reflecting the heat, so it's even hotter now. Yeah, but still not as hot as what we call the urban heat traps or urban heat islands, with the bitumen or tarmac, black tarmac reflecting heat, and all the buildings reflecting heat in town. Oh, look who's come to visit. We've got a mouse bird. Coleus. Oh, that's Coleus indicus. That's very rare. We get the speckled mouse bird, the white-faced mouse bird, and this very unusual one here. They're called mouse birds because they've got very long birds. It's a fructivore. Yeah, please don't adjust your volume. You heard me correctly. I didn't say what you maybe thought I said. I said fructivore. Fruit eater. Yeah. And through... This is another topic I'll touch on briefly while we're here. I just came down to the wildlife water feature to get a drink. This is what I call part of nature's tax collectors. This was a rebate. Oh, we've got a dragonfly here. That's nice to see. Another hunted hunter. And birds will catch that if they can. Yeah. This wrist tree, Ristlantia, just beneath Shinna's mole, the pepper tree, was planted here by a bird. It went through the bird's digestive tract and had an even better chance of germinating. I'm creeping up on this dragonfly. Let's see if I can zoom in there. Yeah, there we go. Oh, it's magnificent. Iridescent blue. Yeah. It will come down and catch that fly or even that bee. Shout out to you, Eugene Fourie. This is one of your bee children from your bee hotels. He's an apiarist, a beekeeper. We have over 40 plus bee hotels on the property. Organic, wildlife friendly honey. Yeah. Anyway, back to the dragonfly. So it's going to try and make a snack of a bee or a fly that comes past. Yeah. All right, back to what I was saying. So, ornithochory. Ornithochory, seed dispersal by birds. You get saurochory, seed dispersal by reptiles. Mir or mecochory, seed dispersal by ants, and that is also known as convergent development, or some will say in science, convergent evolution. Take your pick. Anyway, the dragonfly flew off briefly and returned to its perch. It's a hunter. Yeah. But it's also returning because if it stays out too long looking for food, it can become food for a bird. Yeah, the same as any frog or other amphibian in the area calling for too long, it could become food for a hungry bat at night, just incidentally. So the amount of time you expose yourself and let everybody know where you are could be your downfall if you are a stealth hunter such as this dragonfly is right here. Oh, it's just sitting there. It's back again. You see that? Yeah. Flies off briefly, then pauses, puts its wings out, sits very quietly and still there. Anyway, back to the tree. So this tree was planted here from a fructivore, from a mouse bird, in fact. Yeah. So, 3 main types of seed dispersal. Just going to drop a little bit of science on you for a moment here. So please don't complain. Say, oh, Grant never told us what that meant, that term. Yeah. Zoochory, C-H-O-R-Y, zoochory, seed dispersal by animals. Then you get EPI, E-P-I, zoochory, external seed dispersal. Endo, E-N-D-O, zoochory, internal seed dispersal. So that would be endo ornithochory, seed dispersal internally by birds. Yeah, so the birds eat the tasty fruit from that Rislantia, the mountain curry species, and then deposit the seed, which has now gone through the acid bath of the bird's stomach, stripped away all the outside delicious fruit, but the seed has stayed intact. With Myrmecochory, the seed dispersal by ants, many plant species would go extinct if not for the vegetarian ants in the reserve, which actually eat the fleshy, waxy Eliosum. Sounds like a spell from Harry Potter. Eliosum. Yeah, Eliosum is the fatty, waxy reward that the plant gives the ants. And the ants take the seed beneath the ground without eating the seed, like Tribulus terrestris and Tribulus zahiri, the devil thorns, divilkis, spiky caltrop thorns that occur in this area. Oh, she went through the hotel, and there she is there. All right, let's follow. Brrr, she's almost invisible, even from this distance. She blends so beautifully. Brrr, she's checking out SMSs again. I'm always letting her know. Contact calls. All right, back to that bit of science. Hydrochory. That's an easy one. Hydro, water dispersal of seeds. Anemo. Yeah, not Nemo, the film with the clownfish. Anemo, wind dispersal, anemochory. So briefly, hydrochory, dispersal by water. Anemochory, seed dispersal by wind. and zoochory, dispersal by animals in general. Then again, you can get more specific. So when the ants take the seeds beneath the ground, the seeds have a chance of germinating and do not get burned when the fire comes through. Hence the UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Great Black Mountain Range there to the north. Yeah, if you're on the same rock as me right now watching this, that is part of your World Heritage Site too. Many people who live around Outser in the Western Cape are absolutely clueless that they live right underneath the shadow of a World Heritage Site, everybody. Yeah, there's your lesson for the day if you did not know that. Now you do. The Cape Floristic region. Yeah. Fynbos, Macchia, Fynbos, Macchia, Macchia, not commonly used, that term. Now that is the English version. Just a brief check for snacks, and she's back into the shade and near the Wildlife Hotel. By now you would have seen she does not spend a long time away from safety. Just like meerkats, they have an entire vigilance system and network of escape tunnels, and that is why it is critical for them to have wildlife hotels where they have been destroyed. When somebody plows over the burrow systems or sleeping areas, many species, including Hystrix africae australis, the porcupine, scrub hare, Lepus saxatilis and capensis, Cape scrub hare, Ottocyan megalotis. There's one for you, megalotis, big ears. Yeah, the bat-eared fox, Cape fox, Vulpes shama. Not Vulpes vulpes, our British friends, with your red fox, similar in appearance. They all live in wildlife hotels, every single one of them that I've mentioned, and they all go underground, just like this, to escape danger. A noisy plow is coming along in the field. Brrr, habitat destroyer en masse. And all the animals in the area run into these existing hotels and get plowed over and are destroyed. And these hotels could be thousands of years old. They're inherited from one generation to the next. Hence why we are building additional ones so that they can recolonize and move back into an area where they used to occur. Unique to the Meerkat Magic Conservation Project and Associazione Suricati Italia. All right, she's back in the hotel there. Let's see if she's gone through to the other side. Ah, spider-killing wasp. Yeah. Yes. Now, I mentioned earlier why it's making such a loud sound. That is a warning sound. It's warning the birds. It's not trying to be sneaky and camouflage. It's saying, here I am, here I am, here I am. Don't make a mistake. If you think I'm food, you will be sorry. Many animals have aposematic or warning marks in nature. Black, as I mentioned, white, red, yellow are very good warning marks. Humans have copied this, of course. Stop streets, traffic lights, etc. It's directly from wildlife, nature. And see, we've got Cape sparrows and domestic sparrows also coming to visit the area. So the wasp is saying, you better leave me alone or you will regret it. It is as simple as that. And even if a bird doesn't know any better and tries to capture the wasp and gets stung, the next time it sees or hears that wasp, it isn't going to know, stay away. So it sacrifices itself basically to protect the species. When we're looking at monarch butterflies, they have a feast as caterpillars of toxic milkweed. They store these toxins in their bodies. They have bright black, white, and red markings, aposematic or warning marks, as I mentioned. That is advertising in nature. Then we have the viceroy butterfly. This is known as Batesian mimicry. Carl Bates, shout out to you, bro. Yeah, no longer with us, but his research is basically convergent development or evolution, where one species which is harmless, such as the viceroy, and in fact very tasty, is hiding in plain sight. I don't see her. She's in the deepest part of the hotel where it's nice and cool, in the chamber. So I'll finish this topic off and then we'll see where we go from there. Viceroy butterfly. Bright marked, the birds leave it alone. That's a good deal. And the reason is, every time the birds have eaten the monarch butterfly, they've got terribly sick from all the nasty toxins that I was telling you about that the monarch butterfly pupa Oh, she's come out again. Oh, we are being lucky today. Wow. Brrr. Yeah. So the monarch butterfly, very toxic. Brrr. The toxins that it's borrowed. And it warns everyone, to be fair. It's like, don't eat me, don't eat me. You're going to be sorry. It's a bad career move, as I like to say. So the viceroy comes along and just happens to start looking more and more similar to the monarch butterfly, and that is Batesian mimicry, explained briefly. So the birds leave the toxic species, mistaking the harmless, tasty viceroy species as well, thinking basically it's toxic. So that species becomes more and more similar, and over time, through genetic mutations, mutant alleles become more and more similar to that species which is toxic, and even the harmless species is left alone. The birds are therefore tricked. It's deception in nature, Batesian mimicry. Yeah, and here you thought you were just going to be seeing a mongoose. Perhaps you did, perhaps you didn't. Anyway, you never know what can happen on these live streams. We've encountered the gunship wasp, a spider's worst nightmare, the fiscal shrike, Lanius colaris, a quick recap, the cry wolf bird, the deceiver, the liar, the parasitic bird, the Laxman, the butcher bird, and of course we have encountered the Karoo scrub robin, a true ally to the Cynictis penicillatus, yellow mongoose right here. I've talked about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, associative learning, displacement reassurance, why I'm called the man behind the hand, Meerkatman Mongoose man. Yeah, I think we've covered a few topics. I've talked a bit about anatomy. If you have specific questions, please do send in your comments. Check out the YouTube channel. And incidentally, yes, we have an international merchandise shop in America. And we have one in Europe. So you can get your merch hot off the press. And if you do that, send me a picture or video of you if you like, and I'll acknowledge you on social media as one of our VIPs. You can also send me a picture of you in the Meerkats book if you can track down a copy. Maybe on Amazon. Check out the ISBN for that. You can also join Association of Suricates Italy. Check out the Facebook page. You'll find all the links on Meerkat Magic Moments on Facebook, Mongoose Magic Moments. I think this is my longest stream I've ever done. Yeah, could be. And this is only a tiny snippet of my day as a wildlife research biologist. Of course, usually I'd be collecting heaps and heaps of data, but I've done my time. If you'd like to see those scientific publications, you can get them anywhere in the world, in any good university or library. You can also find the links on my Facebook profiles. I've got 2 profiles there, 2 pages, one for personal friends and one open to the public. All right, she's deep inside this tunnel now. I think with that little summary, that synopsis, it's time to sign off. I'm getting a bit hungry now. It's time for a little snack and my own little getting out of the heat. She's having a siesta. Let me have a little walk over here to show you around before I sign off. Yeah, friends, you can come out and visit. If you're coming to the Stone Dojo, like I said, that's open to the public. Yeah, come have a seat and join us over here. Yeah, check out the Stone Dojo gym, Team Shongololo, where I have dozens of students from the local community coming through, which I sponsor. We get them nice barbecue here. This is a completely atavistic or primitive barbecue area. A barbie for our Australian friends. Yeah, a braai vlees. Yeah, a braai o'clock, everybody. Yeah, that's what's happening to me. I'm the braai today. I'm getting cooked alive here. And there we see the Stone Dojo gym in the distance. You can come out and train there. You can do drop sets. You can do every body part there. And then, of course, I've got the gym inside the Meerkat mansion as well. The heavy weights. All right, then we've got the Outeniqua mountain range to the south. This is a little jacuzzi, by the way. Yeah, an outdoor jacuzzi. Of course, we like to swim in the reserve river, which is way down in the distance. of the reserve there. But the Outeniqua mountain range is the barrier between us and what is known as the garden route. Just a bit of tourism for your info. The garden route, die Tuinroute. Yeah. Setchfield, Neisner, Plettenberg Bay, Mossel Bay, Dana Bay. Incredibly beautiful areas, and quite commonly it will be raining there. And it'll be hot and sunny like it is here with this cobalt dome with barely a cloud in the sky, apart from those few cirrus creeping past the Great Black Mountain Range to the north. Yeah. All right, my friends on TikTok, thank you for joining the stream. It's time for me to sign off. Maybe I'll do the next live stream on Facebook or Instagram. I usually do them on my main platform, YouTube, but it's been fun having a little visit here today. I wish you all the very best. How do I even stop this stream? I don't even know how. This is only my second stream here, but let's try this. Okay. How do I shut you down? No? End live. Yes. All right, everyone. All the best.